Williams Jr., Deputy Chief Tiffany Stewart, Andrea Smith is requesting an excuse, however, she is online. Janella Robinson, Judge Donald Knapp,
Here.
Norris J. Howard,
Here.
Armand R. Harris is absent. Chief Robert Dunlap,
Present.
Sam Sharikian has also requested an excuse. Paul Bruno.
Here.
Chief Judge Pro Tem David Braxton. Chair Clark Coleman.
Here.
We have a quorum present.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Okay, next item.
Item B, remarks from the chair.
I guess I have none. How many of you are aware of what's the judge's name who was here, whose wife passed away? Prentice Edwards. He was a member of our board, wasn't he? And she was really young. Oh. Well, it's been posted on, it was on Facebook. Yes. That's how I knew.
Okay.
It was on Facebook. Somebody posted it on Facebook. Judge Prentice Edwards. Oh, I know how I knew.
It was at full board last.
Yes, and they're doing a resolution, a memoriam on, his wife passed away. She's young. He must be devastated. For those who know him.
Yeah, I think he's trying to keep it very private, is what I understand.
Oh, is that right? Oh, wow. Yeah, I wouldn't expect that.
It's unfortunate because I think a lot of people pray for him.
Yeah.
But he's very private.
Yeah, well, it was announced at our commission meeting that I think Jonathan is doing a memoriam, a resolution, and that he announced it. So I didn't know it was anything secretive if you announce it in an open meeting.
Oh.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. I'm sorry to hear that. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so the next item, Madam Clerk.
Item C, approval of the May 1st, 2024 meeting minutes.
Okay, can I have a motion for the minutes? Approval of the minutes of May 1st. Bruno? Okay. It's been a motion by Sam, Bruno, and who did I get a second? Who's the second? Okay.
I'm sorry, who's the motion? Who made the motion? And
Paul.
second?
What did I say? Did I say Sam?
Thank you.
Paul Bruno. Okay. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the motion carries. Next item.
We're moving on to item D under unfinished business. There is none listed. Moving to item number 1 under item E, new business, review and approval of the Q2 and Q3 report.
Okay. Review and approval of item 2 and 3.
I'm
So who's
sorry,
gonna do
through
this?
the chair. We're going to move on to item number 2 and then come back to item number 1. We're going to
Wait, now we're gonna say that again now.
We're going to move to item number 2, staffing updates.
Okay.
If that's okay.
Okay. So who's gonna report on this? Okay, go ahead.
Good afternoon, through the chair, Ebony McCann, Department of Health, Human Veteran Services, Transition Services Division Director. I am extremely excited to share with you or to introduce to you all today Mr. Lester Thomas, who has been hired as the new Community Corrections Administrator. He will serve this honorable body, and I will be here. But this is essentially the change of the seat. So I'm going to get up, allow Mr. Thomas to sit here. I will present the report for quarter 2 and 3 from this way, but Mr. Thomas, can you please introduce yourself? And then we'll go around the table and you guys can introduce yourself to Mr. Thomas as well.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Lester Thomas. I am a proud lifelong Detroit resident. I have numerous experience in community corrections. Let's see, I started as a Wayne County juvenile probation officer. And I went to Oakland County where I worked in the jail and pretrial services. And then I transitioned to the federal pretrial services where I did almost 20 years there. Then I transitioned took an early retirement, transitioned to labor relations with Ford Motor Company.
Mm.
And then lastly, I've been working, I was working previously with Detroit Public Schools. So that's a little bit about me.
So what did you do with the Detroit Public Schools?
Actually, I was an attendance agent.
Okay, okay,
So we was trying to deal with that chronic absenteeism.
yeah.
Yeah. So. Anything else? Just feel free to ask.
Okay, so we'll now go around the table and everyone can introduce themselves and tell them who you represent. Mhm.
Your mic, please, your mic.
Okay. Hi, nice to meet you. Welcome aboard. I'm Janella Robinson. I am one of the region managers for Michigan Department of Corrections over parole and probation offices in Wayne County. So that includes Detroit and Lincoln Park. Welcome.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Robert Dunlap, Chief of the Wayne County Sheriff's Office, where my responsibilities includes all officers and staff assigned to security functions in the court, as well as the jail.
My name is Dave Braxton, Chief Judge Pro Tem.
Is your mic on?
Good afternoon. My name is David Braxton, Chief Judge Pro Tem in the Wayne County Probate Division. And just.
We know what chief judges do.
What'd you say? What'd she say?
You know what Chief
She
Judge
knows
do.
what.
Well, I think we all know what chief judges do. So did you say you are a deputy chief judge or?
Yeah,
Deputy?
Chief Judge Pro Tem, yes.
Oh, chief judge pro tem?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. And you've been in that position how long?
I think 8 years.
8 years?
Mhm.
Okay, all right. Very good. Next.
Hi, I'm Tiffany Stewart, Deputy Chief, Detroit Police Department. I have Support Services Bureau. That's pretty much over your resources, all procurements on the department. You need me to repeat everything?
Yeah.
Okay, Tiffany Stewart, Deputy Chief, Detroit Police Department. I'm over your Support Services Bureau there, and that's all of your procurements, the facilities, the detention center, payroll, anything, the whole business side of the house is what I have, so.
Okay. Paul? The light on?
Softly, just, there you go.
Okay. Paul Bruno, Wayne County Prosecutor's Office. I work for Kim Worthy. I was there when she was an aspiring young assistant prosecutor and we became friends at that time. I worked with David Braxton for many years at the Wayne
Okay.
County Prosecutor's Office. I'm a graduate of Detroit Cooley High School in 1967.
Okay.
I graduated from Cooley,
What year?
83.
Oh, you're just a baby.
Oh, you had to say that, right.
They had some pretty good basketball teams when you were there.
We did. Roy Tarpley played when
Yeah.
I was there.
And we had distinctive basketball teams when I was there, always last place. So, I then paid my way through law school by being a substitute custodian in the Detroit Public Schools. So,
Here.
yeah, I was sweeping the floors and cleaning the graffiti.
Wow.
Yeah, so anyway, I'm very happy that you joined us, and I just want to tell you, Ebony McCann knows the answers to everything.
He does.
She's very, very effective in her, I guess, previous role, the role that you're taking. So best wishes to you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Thomas. I'm Don Knapp. I'm the presiding judge of the Criminal Division of the Third Circuit Court.
My mic's not working. There it is.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
we go. Good afternoon. Pleasure to meet you. My name is Norris Howard. I'm an advanced practice nurse. I've had 20 years working at Receiving Hospital and all of their departments, and I've just celebrated my 25th anniversary at Central City Health at FQHC as one of their executive directors. And I think I'll be celebrating my 3rd year here.
Okay.
Okay, okay.
How you doing?
I'm good.
I'm Larry Williams. I'm a judge at 36th District Court.
Okay.
Introduce ourselves.
Yeah, because we have a new executive director.
I had the pleasure of meeting Mr. Thomas. He did a tour of our facility and I found him to be very bright, forthwith, and I enjoyed the conversation him and Ebony and I had. I'm Pastor Eddie C. Williams with Lake Ridge Village. We are a transitional housing program funded through DWIN, and we run SUD programs, substance use disorder programs, and housing.
And does an outstanding job.
Thank
Is that it? So, okay. So do we have a full house today?
Oh, just about.
Oh, okay.
And we also have Miss Andrea Smith online.
Oh, okay. So
introduce
yes,
herself.
we need for her to introduce herself too.
Good afternoon. Sorry I'm not there in person today. My name is Andrea Smith. I am a Director of Innovation and Community Engagement at Detroit Wayne Integrated Health Network, and welcome to the team. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, we've gotten that piece of business out the way. The next item is
We're going to return to item 1,
item 1. Okay.
review and approval of the Q2 and Q3 report.
Yeah, we've got the reports here. We'll start off with Q2.
Q2, yes.
Yes.
Good afternoon again, through the chair, Ebony McCann, Department of Health, Human Veteran Services. Before, I've already seen Mrs. Robinson squinting her eyes, the font on.
She ain't just Mrs. Robinson, and I got glasses on.
And so do I. My apologies. We'll make sure that we enlarge the font next time. And so we're going to go over the.
Well, you might as well read it. I can't do nothing with that.
So we're gonna, and that's fine. I was prepared to review and read it for you all. So we're gonna go through the Q2 report, which I am, pleased to share these numbers. And so we'll start with Lake Ridge Village. Lake Ridge Village projected, and I'm sorry, the reporting period for Q2 is January 1st through March 31st of 2024. So this will speak to all of the enrollments and utilization and expenditures for that time. So we projected a total of 80 new enrollments. At the time of this report, which was at the conclusion of Q2, there had been a total of 54 new enrollments, of which 51 successfully completed the program. This cognitive program, the facilitator, Wendy Anderson, is phenomenal. We have identified, or Lake Ridge has identified, a way in which individuals needing additional services post that 30 days are able to access the DWIN hotline to see if they are eligible for community-based services. And so I am, again, pleased that It does appear that they will either exceed or meet their utilization or projected enrollments for this fiscal year. If I can go a step further, I can actually share that they are operating on a waiting list. So there have been, and Judge Knapp, this is to your credit, ensuring that the bench is aware of this program in the jail. So judges are sentencing to cognitive behavioral therapy. We just don't have the capacity at this time to receive all of the enrollment. So there is a waiting list. We do have a mechanism in which individuals, their outdate is reviewed. And so we're ensuring that those individuals who have further outdates are, kept and housed in the jail and allowed to complete programming. So we have a system that's working well, but this is the first time in several years that we've had individuals actually waiting to receive treatment. Thank you, Chief Dunlap, for all of the hard work that you and your staff have done to accommodate an attempt to pivot. We've tried to have afternoon sessions, but again, this just speaks to the demand in us collaborating and working together to ensure that these orders are being processed effectively and that we are providing this service. Mrs. Robinson and her team are making sure that the order of probation specifically state cognitive behavioral therapy and that the individuals are not to leave or be released from jail until they complete it. So again, this collaboration, this is, the work that we do, and I'm just excited and pleased that post-pandemic, we are back on target. So
Great, that's great. So they'll still be held in jail, right?
correct.
Until they go through the program.
That is correct. The orders of probation, the language of the orders of probation speaks specifically that they must successfully complete whatever the order is. And so in this instance, the judge has ordered them to complete cognitive behavioral therapy. And so they can't be released until they successfully complete cognitive behavioral therapy.
So how long would you say this wait list might take?
Well, the program is a 30-day program. And so we are able to get individuals in and out. So the turnover is relatively quick. And it's a rolling admitting process. And so if, you can come in staggered, so we don't have to wait for a complete class to exit. We are admitting individuals as they are sentenced.
Okay, all right. That's good. Okay.
The FQHC trauma-informed care contract was recently approved at full board at 2 months ago. And so the report for that program has not been implemented. It was not active for quarter 2. I think I speak to it in quarter 3, but if not, I will share that information with you because Black Family Development has continued to provide programming. ETRS, DVT, jail-based programming, their projected utilization or projected enrollments for fiscal year 2024 was 45. At the time of quarter 2's closing, they had admitted a total of 16 new enrollments, with 14 of those individuals successfully completing programming. We lowered, and I think we discussed last year at the time that the budget was submitted, reducing the number of projected enrollments for jail-based domestic violence programming and increasing our enrollments for community-based. And so we still are having somewhat struggled to get individuals enrolled in jail-based domestic violence programming. And I think that is just due to a lack of education by the bench. And so ETRS, the current vendor, is anticipating potentially coming before the bench just to share what the program guidelines are, what they offer, so that everyone is knowledgeable of this program.
So how often do you go to the judges to inform them of the different programs?
So I was invited last month at the last meeting. I think we've had a couple of meetings that have been rescheduled or canceled or postponed. But it is my hope that we can get on that agenda, just briefly to discuss. And so that's something I'll discuss with Judge Knapp. I think all of our vendors are interested in having a vendor spotlight in front of the bench so that they are aware, as well as the probation offices. So that's something we can discuss offline.
And do most of the judges attend this meeting?
Yes, I think they are mandated.
Okay.
You try.
Honestly, doesn't work out once a month during the summer. We took July off.
Mm-hmm.
we'll have another meeting coming up next month, right before our transition to the new criminal justice facility.
Okay.
I don't know that we're gonna have a ton of time.
Okay.
To have in-depth discussion, because our focus is gonna be on the transition. And, oh, I'm sorry, thank you. Our main focus is gonna be on the transition
Sure.
and the logistics that we're gonna see, and Judge Williams can appreciate this. We're currently in close proximity to 36th District Court. We won't be, as of September 3rd.
Mhm.
So making sure that attorneys can move expeditiously between both courts and not create issues for both benches
Mhm.
while we're waiting on defense attorneys is a big focus for us right now.
Yeah.
Why are you shaking your head?
He knows.
Challenge.
Yeah, right now it's easy because somebody might have a preliminary exam in 36th District Court, right? And then they can pop back over to Frank Murphy and go back and forth,
Yeah,
right? And they can park in between.
yeah. But right now, I mean, after.
Well, right, I mean, you're gonna have to take your car back and forth.
Oh.
And parking is sort of one of those issues that's at the forefront of everybody's mind.
What don't they provide parking for individuals going into into the new building?
With shuttles.
Well, so
Shuttles?
the county has not actually announced its parking plan yet. We're
Yeah.
anxiously awaiting that information. I think
Well-
there probably will be shuttles for employees, but I can't say with any certainty what that's gonna look like.
Okay, well, they did present us with a plan for parking. I guess maybe I can't discuss that right now, but
I'd be happy to learn about it, honestly.
I just assumed that it had already been worked out.
I get a question every day.
Okay, all right, okay. Okay, so next.
Community-based domestic violence programming, we projected 100 enrollments, and yeah, this font is very small. We projected 100 enrollments. We had 57 carryover from the previous fiscal year. To date, we enrolled 51 enrollments. So it appears that ETRS is on target to meet their 100 enrollments for fiscal year 2024. Wayne County Sheriff's Office GPS tether, we projected 400 new enrollments. We carried over 118 from fiscal year 2023. At the time of this report, there were 176 new enrollments. And I believe that percentage is off, so I'll correct the percentage. Of those, total enrollments, 150 have successfully completed the terms and conditions of their GPS tether. For everyone at the table, we've discussed this previously, but these are individuals who are awaiting trial. They have not yet been sentenced, so these are pretrial defendants who've been placed on the tether. They are monitored by the Wayne County Sheriff's Office. Wayne County Sheriff's Office apprehension, we projected 75 enrollments for fiscal year 2024. At the time of this report, we only had 15 enrollments. And as I indicated at previous meetings, our utilization for apprehension is lower due to individuals not being sentenced at a higher rate to specialty courts. Or those individuals have not absconded at a high rate from treatment facilities. We continue to offer and provide this service to our specialty court partners, but that is the only population that is eligible for apprehension services under our funding. So those individuals who've been sentenced to a residential treatment facility or individuals who are sentenced to drug court, mental health court, veterans treatment court only. Our Wayne County 5-day housing just allows individuals who are being screened for drunk driver jail reduction to be housed in the Wayne County Jail for an additional 5 days or up to 5 days to accommodate the screening process to take place. We projected 100 individuals for fiscal year 2024, and at the time of this report, there were 29 individuals who were screened for drunk driver jail reduction. As it pertains to the actual ETRS DDJR programming, this is an outpatient community-based program for substance abuse. We projected 100 enrollments for fiscal 2024. We provided funding for 28 who carried over from fiscal 2023. We had a total of 35 new enrollments in fiscal 2024, of which 16 were neutrally discharged. So a neutral discharge does not necessarily mean they were successful or unsuccessful. There could have been some other mitigating circumstances that contributed to them not completing the program. And so we list them or classify them as neutral. There were 9 who were unsuccessful. So individuals who, for whatever reason, did not comply with the terms and condition of their outpatient substance abuse treatment in the community were discharged from this program. So that's something we will have to speak with our vendor just to kind of see what, if anything, can be done to ensure that they are being effective in the community, what modifications may need to occur to their programming to ensure that they are retaining individuals and they are successfully completing the terms and conditions. I think a lot of times, especially this program, it's a 26-week program. Once individuals are released into the community, they have real life circumstances. So they have work, they have childcare, and there's some other barriers or impairments that prevent them from fully committing to their outpatient treatment. And so we need to speak with the vendor to see how we can support them in the community. That concludes the report for Q2. Again, overall, we are on target, and you'll see in the Q3 report to meet or exceed our utilization in most areas for this fiscal year. We are still underutilizing funding, specifically in that violence prevention line that I did not speak to. So we all have been at previous meetings, we had a subgroup where we discussed the community violence prevention program. And I'll speak to that in report 3, but we have some traction on that. We just have not identified a vendor yet.
Okay.
So we need a any
Gotta
discussion.
take these,
You want to take them together?
take
Okay.
together. Yeah. But are there any questions or comments on number 2, right, Q2? Any questions or comments on Q2 before we move on to Q3? Okay, let's move on to Q3.
Okay, Q3 report captures April 1st through June 30th. So this is a more recent snapshot of where we are as a whole. Before going into the specifics of this report, I can share that during Q3, an RFP for the violence prevention program was issued. It is my understanding that the proposal was disseminated to over 400 vendors. We received 1 response. And so our procurement team is working with members from community corrections to review that document or that proposal, and they will make a determination whether or not they're moving forward. They are adhering to the procurement policies, guidelines, or procurement ordinance guidelines regarding minimum qualifications. And as long as that vendor submitted the appropriate paperwork, I think that we will have a decision at our next Community Corrections Advisory Board meeting. And then we'll get to working with whomever that vendor is to move forward and implement that program. We know the gun violence continues to be a huge issue in our community. And so to know that we are one step closer to actually getting this vision that we have discussed for the past 2 or 3 years off the ground is exciting. I am elated at the work and the commitment, and I can say excited again. I am excited about what this looks like for our community, what this looks like for the future. And I know with you, by our sides or by the side of Mr. Thomas, this will be a great look. So we thank you, and we're going to definitely, or he's going to definitely need, your voices in the community to get the word out as we ramp up or issue this contract, as well as hosting potentially community meetings just to let them know what it is that we anticipate on doing and who the vendor is and how we can, as a community, move forward to eradicate or at least reduce some of the gun violence that we're seeing.
Now, the city just announced a program, I believe, also to reduce gun violence. I think the mayor and city council announced a program that it's got, oh, the police chief, that's what it was.
Okay.
The police chief, it's got to happen. This is just terrible. And and these guns are so plentiful. And instead of just arguing with people, they just pull out guns and start shooting. This is just crazy. You're almost afraid to go out and water your grass because your plants or something, because these young people, these are most of them are really young people, and who really just don't have control of their anxieties. And for them to get a hold of a gun is asking for multiple trouble. Put a gun in the hands of a child. You know, that's hope that something can be done. And I'm hoping that with the city and the county and the judges and all working together, and the sheriff's office and police chief, maybe we can get a handle on it because it's just out of control. And as I said, most of them are young. These are young folks. You know, I was just talking to a gentleman a couple of days ago, and he was saying that he came out of a store, and I mean, they're going up against. Usually, they go up against people who are like older people, but they are going in there against grown men who are. And he was saying that this kid came up to him to rob him and stuck the gun right in his stomach. And he said his hand was shaking like this. He was about 14 years old. And his hand was just shaking. He was afraid, but he's committing a crime. And he was able to talk him down. The gentleman that I spoke with, he was able to talk him down because he said he could see that he was scared to death. Then you wonder if somebody's making them do this or putting them up to doing something like this. But something has to be done. And I think it's going to take a big effort with the community, as well as all of the different city and county and judicial officials to get this stuff under control. Okay, sure, go ahead, Paul. Yeah, just touch it lightly.
If these kids don't have anything to do, they're gonna get into trouble.
Yeah.
I mean, that, to me, that's the bottom line.
Yeah.
If we would provide them with the ability to just exhaust themselves physically, then much of this, I think, could be avoided. But for some reason, we don't do that.
Yeah, but the city they hire, like, especially during the summer, they hire thousands of kids. They create these jobs for them, thousands. I think like 8,000 they did like over the summer. So they are creating something for them to do.
They don't have transportation to get to the job.
Oh,
much of the
yeah.
time.
Yeah.
But, you know,
So maybe they can give them like bus tickets or stuff like that. But anyhow, go ahead.
You know, Judge Braxton and I grew up in a pretty tough neighborhood. I've been doing.
What neighborhood was that?
We're in the Linwood area.
And what?
Linwood and Puritan.
Oh, okay.
kind of area. David lived on the which side? But he understands, certainly understands. I'm glad to see him here as a judge, because he understands. But I think it's going to take in this partnership with Wayne County, the city of Detroit, definitely get out and talk to the community, talk to the kids, you know, the pastors, faith-based, judges. We all got to come out of our high seats and chair and go out and go to some of these areas and talk and present police presence. I know the Wayne County does a lot with that, and you know, sheriff department and all, and you know, certainly with Chief Dunlap. But I think that with this program that Wayne County wants to do in terms with the city of Detroit, I know the state has something coming up, but they mesh them all together and have more block clubs. And I know you're active in the 12th precinct community clubs, you know, and really come out and talk about what's going on and meet them where the kids are.
Yeah.
You know,
And where is that?
they're in the neighborhoods. You know, that's where they are, and they're
On the-
hanging out at
on the streets.
They're in the street. They're hanging out at the gas stations, which we're afraid to get out of the car.
Yeah, I don't go.
You know, what I mean, we see a group of them, we're gonna go to the safest. And I know that they've done the green lights, they've done all that, but I think those efforts coming together and have safe zones, have talks with some of the people that we know are rolling drugs and are high stake players. They're businessmen, you know,
Yeah.
and they got their runners, and I think we have to go out there and do it. They want, they're gonna let law enforcement know.
They don't seem to be able to resolve their differences in any other way. Because I was just talking to one of a lady friend of mine, and she was telling me that they know that these kids were living next door to her over in Northwest Detroit, and they were younger. They were living with their father, and he passed away. So then they were living in the house, and that on Sunday, I guess the SWAT teams and they all were out there because the two of them got into an argument in the house. Two of the young boys got into the argument, and one shot the other. And then when he stumbled outside, he followed him out there and pumped 5 more bullets in him while he's on the ground. They lived together. And they're like, they don't have any compassion. So something has to be done, because that's like, they're not even afraid anymore. And they're not afraid to go to jail. Yes, go ahead.
Madam Chair, I just wanted to tag on to what Mr. Bruno said. You know, in my 38 years of policing these streets, I agree with what Mr. Bruno said 100%. Ask yourself, how many rec centers in the city of Detroit? Not very many. And so I think, you know, there, you know, was a great effort to put together this violence disruptor thing, and they have to go out and find these folks. Whereas maybe if we had community centers, rec centers strategically placed throughout the city and have those violence disruptors as mentors working along with the police at these rec centers, I think you would see less aggression and less violence. And so I don't know if I've been policing as long as you've been prosecuting, but certainly I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
Can I tell a quick story?
Sure, go ahead. Go ahead.
Back when I was working as a substitute janitor at the Detroit Public Schools, on the Lower East Side, these two kids got into a fight. And the principal back then gathered them together and said, look, you guys want to fight? Go right ahead. And they pounded on each other for a minute or two. And nobody was hurt or seriously hurt. He said to them, are you guys done fighting with each other now? And they said, yeah. Then don't do it anymore. Go back to your classes or whatever. And hopefully this won't happen again because you're going to be fighting again with me supervising. And I don't know what happened after that, but nowadays, you get one of these fights at school, somebody's coming back with a gun.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
So, you know, they need boxing rings at these athletic centers. They need karate training. They need basketball, soccer. They need baseball. They need to be doing this 24 hours a day because they're going to be out in the streets anyway.
Yeah.
When you wear them out,
They go home
they'll
and go
go
to
home.
sleep.
They'll go home and go to sleep. So
So we have rec centers, right, Chief? But they're
We
the
don't-
senior rec centers.
Right. They're mostly now, and I think the deputy chief can probably speak to it better than me at this point, but you're right. From what I see, they've been mostly geared towards seniors and smaller kids. Like Mr. Bruno said, you know, you had the Crunk Gym,
The Boys and
community
Girls Club.
centers, yeah, something that, you know, targets that, you know, teenage to young adult group. I think we could probably use more of them.
And I say with us, we were recently partnering with One Detroit over the summer with the Assistant U.S. Attorney Don Isom.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Detroit Police
Yeah, I
Department
did
and
see
others.
that.
And so going back to talking about the rec centers, we've been using the recreation centers for the ability for the probationers to come and meet and talk with us and community members, people who are part of the violence prevention programs throughout the community. They sit down and have a informal discussion and just talk about what's going on with them in their lives and in their community. And we're doing it in a rec center so that they can learn about what's happening in the rec center, giving them another opportunity, another outlet, right? But also we bring in a family. And that's been one of the biggest, you know, changes because we're actually having them bring the girlfriend, the boyfriend, the mother, the father, the children. Our last event we had over at Butzel, it included, I mean, it was a family there where the guy brought his girlfriend, their 3 kids, the youngest baby who was like 9 months old. And you may say, well, why would you bring your child to an event like that with all of these other people that are on probation? But the encouragement that they got to help them see, like, we all here trying to help you succeed and that violence is not the direction to take. There's so many people out here able to support you. So we had a mother who came up during the event and said, wow, I'm so happy to hear that you all are saying the same thing that I'm saying to him, you know? And I think the more, going back to the point of going to where people are, we have to do, right? Same thing we talk to our staff about. You can't just sit back and expect people to come to you and say, hey, I have a need, I need some help. We got to go to you and say, hey, let me help you out. Because sometimes they don't even identify it for themselves on the front end. So the work we've been doing with One Detroit, we're really trying to see some change in that regards. And bringing in different mentors to work, especially with our probation population. So the work that we're doing here at this table with regards to people that are in the community on probation, it's a huge need. It's a huge need for those that are already on probation. People believe that because they haven't been in prison and disconnected from the community by being in prison, they know what's here. They know where the Secretary of State is. They know where all the community centers are. That's not true. If my world has only been in that one block of Dexter and Linwood, I might not know anything else other than the party store that's on the corner. Yeah. So going out, engaging with them, I think, and connecting them to the resources in the community, like the rec centers and the like, will and should and hopefully will make a difference. I'm glad as a board, we went outside of the box and looked at developing a prevention program. And we have to continue doing that.
Yeah,
we have to continue because it may not be the old approach that'll work today in this new time. These are new children. I have some. So they think differently. They act a little bit differently. Not putting them all in a box and saying they're exactly the same, but we got to meet them where they are and figure out what'll help move the needle. What'll help make that change. Because I'm not going, even when I visit. Please open the door real quick. So I think that we have to continue doing what we're doing. I am alarmed that we only had one respondent. Especially knowing that there are, I don't know how many people approved for the City of Detroit Violent Prevention Program across the city.
They probably already contracted up.
Listen, I haven't seen one who turned down a second contract before. So it's just a little alarming for me that there was only one respondent, and it's so many agencies out here that I know that are already doing the work, interested in doing the work. I know sometimes we have to do an RFI, a request for information, to allow agencies to ask the questions. Maybe they don't understand it all in what we're asking for on our RFPs on the front end. I'm hoping that when procurement takes a look at the proposal that did come in, if they find that there's a gap or a shortcoming that won't really meet our need, that we do come back to the table. And we're not just taking an agency that won't be able to satisfy what this full board is trying to look for. But I definitely commend the board, continue to think outside of the box. I don't think any idea is a bad idea. We need it. We need everyone at this table support. I know probation alone can't do it, and the agents can't do it alone either. So thank you all for what you all are all absolutely doing.
Yeah, we need to get them before they get into the youth home.
That part would be great.
Get them before they get there.
Yes.
Because by the time they get there, they're lost. And I do have faith in our procurement program, our procurement department. They do an exhaustive job in making sure that the vendors meet those qualifications. Yeah, so I have a lot of confidence that will happen. Did you have something to say? Chief?
No, I'm just taking it on now.
Okay, okay. Anybody else?
I would like to.
Sure, go ahead.
Coming from working with DPS, I think one of the things we have to consider, first of all, I had to just throw away everything I learned growing up because I realized my morals and values are so different than who I was dealing with. That's the first thing. And the second thing is you have to realize hopelessness exists. And when you have a population that sees no hope, they act different. And I think we have to say, how do we bring hope to the hopelessness? And that's a question we really have to wrestle with and say, and if we do programs and initiatives and have vendors, we have to make sure that they're saying, this is really who you're dealing with in a certain population, and how do we deal with hopelessness? Because what it does is it escalates. It starts young, but even it goes into the teens and the 20s. They're living in a state of hopelessness, and some of us can't relate to that. And if we can't, we need to be honest and say we've never seen it before and show it to me, because it exists. I was sitting in the schools, and you sit up there and you like, they don't see a future.
Yeah.
And it
That's
took
true.
me a minute to back up because I was not raised like that. And I don't raise my sons like that. So it took me a minute because that was not the norm for me. And it made me uncomfortable because I had to start thinking outside the box to try and save young men and women. So I think that's just some of the things that, you may have. I'm new, so you may have thought about this, but I wanted to express that because I just came out of it, seeing it firsthand, and it's devastating, but they want hope. They want hope. So it's our responsibility at least to try and do everything within our power to give it to them and bring it to them because they need it.
Now, our churches, I think they play a critical role. I'm looking at the kids who are in my church. Those kids are so involved in the church. You never have to worry about them. They are excited about being in, those were the ones you don't have any problem with. I look at all those young people in the church, and you are involving them in things that's going on in the church. let me tell you, it works. And I did not believe it, but I watch them. And those are the ones that you don't see hanging out. You don't see them getting into trouble, and they love coming to church. See that? So I think that we have to lean on our clergy to do more about getting young folks involved in church, letting them play a role, let them be in a choir or youth group or something like that. But I think that that's one of the things that will help them.
One of the things that I see, and it's going to speak to both of your points, is that in building programming and giving them individuals tools to work with, to work out their frustration, but you also have to build in opportunity to grow and opportunity to earn a living for yourself. One of the programs that I run is a supportive employment program, and we develop jobs and we stay with them. And the change you see in a person once they start making a living for themselves is so vital. But there are very many opportunities for people who have so many things in their background that don't look good on the application.
Yeah.
So a lot of times they even frustrated to even want to go fill out that application, to be further frustrated and told you don't fit.
Yeah, that is, and that you hit the nail on the head, because there are some in the church who don't have jobs. And, kind of got a whole bunch of jobs. So I'm at the church recruiting folks, for jobs. And I noticed a big difference when they get them, even, like working for the parks, working out as a laborer. You think that most people don't even want that, but I got this young man who is in his 20s. And he didn't ask me, someone else asked me. They said that he needed a job. And so I referred him to the county as a laborer. He is just delighted. He is so proud of himself. And he said, I got benefits. That's what he said. He said, I can go to the dentist and get my teeth fixed. I got benefits. And so that's you're absolutely right about that. If you can get them a job where they can make money and they don't have to stick anybody up to get money, but they got money coming in every week.
Yeah, and when you go to work, you got to go to sleep.
Yes, when you get off, you got to go home and go to bed. You're right, but I agree with you, and I agree with Paul also. Got to get him something to do, and a reason. Hope. Yeah. Okay. All right. What's next?
Q3 report. So I'll go through these quickly. Lake Ridge Village to date has had 73 new enrollments. So we are definitely, again, on target, and they have expended 82% of their allocation for the fiscal year. ETRS DVT has 30, so they're 60% expended. And so again, they are close to their meeting their goal, and I'm assured that they will exceed the utilization and enrollment for fiscal year 2024, and that was for DVT jail. DVT community, to date, there have been 80 new enrollments, so just shy of 20 of the projected 100, which we are elated the work that ETRS is doing in the community. GPS tether, there have been an additional 274. Of the 400 projected, they have actually enrolled 274 to date. So as of June 30th, they have enrolled an additional 274 individuals on GPS tether. apprehension. There have been, again, that number, and that probably is the only program that is underutilized right now. They are at 28%, but again, that just speaks to individuals not being sentenced to specialty courts or veteran or being sentenced to residential treatment facilities. It's my understanding that they have new leadership over at specialty court. So there's a new program manager for drug court. And so we'll be meeting with him to just see how we can provide support in increasing utilization or enrollments in those programs. Wayne County Sheriff's Office 5-day housing, there have been 46 new enrollments, which has assisted ETRS DDJR, which is that last column. Outpatient has enrolled 56 new enrollments at the time of this report. We, again, are on target to, in all of our programming, meet or exceed utilization for fiscal year 2024. That community violence prevention, once that contract has been issued, they may, contingent upon the proposals and when they're reviewed by the committee, they may get a month or so, but I don't anticipate them really expending a lot of funding for the conclusion of this fiscal year. We have, in addition to the heat training that we offered in December, the Wayne County Sheriff's Office was so gracious to allow us to use the Dickerson facility to facilitate that training. We recently conducted a separate training at Wayne State last week where we offered or provided training for 40 participants, Mr. Thomas, to be certified in heat, which is habilitation, empowerment, accountability training, and HER, which is the sister component of that training. It's a culturally responsive training that was created by two gentlemen from Kentucky. And so we have provided additional vendors or participants or community leaders at the opportunity to engage in that program. We had partners from Washtenaw County who came down and Saginaw. So I'm just excited about what this looks like, in some Wayne County participants as well, Mrs. Robinson. But I'm extremely excited about what this looks like for our community. One of the requirements for the proposal was that the vendor needed to be heat certified. And so we believe that this programming will serve as a great foundation for this violence prevention program. We also have entered into a collaboration with Wayne State University Center for Behavioral Health, where they will review the efficacy of this program to determine how to move forward. They will provide the HEAT facilitators with insight as to how they could adjust or modify this curriculum if needed. But based on the first impressions that Wayne State had, they were very, very pleased and impressed with the programming. So I'm extremely excited to, again, have this violence prevention program up and running. In addition to violence prevention, one of the modifications to the trauma-informed care, I think when we first issued that agreement with Black Family Development, it was for women's trauma only. So they were only providing service to women who had encountered or endured some type of trauma. That contract has expanded because men endure traumatic circumstances or experiences as well. And so Black Family Development can now offer men trauma-informed care services as well. So I'm excited about that expansion of the program. Our next meeting, we will discuss funding for fiscal year 2025. At the time of that next meeting, we should receive that budget. And that typically, although we're a little long today, that typically is our longer meeting where we go by program to determine or review, compare the previous fiscal year utilization and determine the allocations for the upcoming year. And so I'll make sure that you guys are not here that long and send the information out in advance so that we can get through that in a relatively swift manner. But that is usually our longer meeting. And Mr. Thomas will facilitate that meeting, and I will join you on this side of the table. So again, thank you all for making yourselves available, and I'll get that date out. I think we discussed that date. Mr. Thomas will then send an email to you all requesting your calendars for our upcoming year meeting cadence. So just keep your emails open for that. And I don't have anything further.
Okay, and there's a question that I want to ask. When you say that they're getting close to expending all of the funding that they were allotted,
Yeah.
what happens then?
So we, in it, to our advantage, we have funding that we can maneuver from other places where we have not necessarily expended. So we will just maneuver or move money from one line item to the next to cover those
Let that-
expenses.
You don't let that just go unused, I mean, the program.
No. The program will be used and we will have funding. In the event that we did not have funding, MDOC typically, if we needed additional money, we could request additional money from them. But we are not in that position. We have enough funding to support any additional programming.
Because we're here at almost August.
Yes.
We got the rest of the year gone, and if they're at 3/4 of their funding right now, and then that's not gonna carry.
Yeah, they'll be fine. We have some wiggle room within our budget, within the allocation that we received. So within that, I think it was $2.1 million we were awarded for fiscal year 2024. We have enough money to realign and modify. So we're
So
fine.
that they can keep on operating.
Absolutely.
And address the needs of those that are waiting.
Absolutely.
Okay. Any other questions or points?
I have one question, just want a clarification. Is Black Family Development currently providing the trauma-informed care?
Yes.
Or is it in queue?
Yeah,
Okay.
yes, they are. And your agents have been phenomenal with sending over referrals. I think that we discussed maybe last year that we weren't utilizing that program at all. But we are, and I'll make sure that I send the board updated numbers regarding the trauma-informed. I know that's what you're gonna ask for, regarding the trauma-informed programming. So yep, I'll make sure I send it over in an email.
Yeah, and I do know that we're proven in contracts, but you talk about some of the ones who, and who might not have applied.
Yes.
Black Family Development is one that they're getting contracts from everywhere. So, they're not gonna be running to be one of those ones running to apply for other programs, because I'm forever approving Black Family Development when I'm sitting on my commission. They're getting contracts from everywhere. So, but the need is big. That's what it is. And I think that that's one of the reasons that not many are applying, because everybody needs, they have those needs for folks who can provide these kind of services. So that's just my take on it. I'm not surprised that there weren't people beating down the door for any contracts that we have, when you're in competition with a whole bunch of other agencies, city, county, state, all over. Okay.
Then I have one other question. Looking at the document, at the top, it says quarterly report fiscal year 2022. Is that something that has to stay there, or?
This is a boilerplate document that MDOC, Office of Community Corrections, submits or issues to Wayne County. It was just an oversight on their part. I am not too keen with modifying their reports or their documents. But yes, they are aware that states 2022. But thank you for pointing that out.
I'm sorry, the heat training already took place and the PER program already took place, and the vendor had to already been a heat training certified?
Yes, so we offered heat in December, and we extended the invitation to all of our then current vendors. So ETRS, Lake Ridge Village, Black Family Development received an invitation. We had partners from 36th District Court who attended that training. Wayne County Sheriff's officers attended that training. And so we have maybe 15 individuals from that December training that were certified in the HEAT curriculum. And we will have an additional 40 individuals or 20 who were certified in this past week's HEAT training, and an additional 20 who were certified in the HER training.
And what does that do for it?
So it allows them the ability to utilize this program. It's a cognitive behavioral therapy programming, which specifically addresses urban men and women, and it addresses the challenges or issues that they specifically face. I can share the handbook. They speak specifically to issues with child support, issues with family dynamics, mother issues, men and women who may have father issues. It addresses their criminality, but it addresses it in a manner that, again, and I think you guys have said it on countless times, it meets them where they are. So it speaks specifically in a language that they understand that it might be offensive to a lot of us at this table. But it speaks specifically, it would be a conversation that you would hear at a local gas station or a local store. And Pastor Williams, his team, they've partnered, or they have been partnering with 36 District Court, and they've been implementing this program for the past 3 or so years. So yeah, it is a program, a training that I implore you all, if you have the opportunity to time it, because it is time consuming, but if you have the time to at least sit in on one of those sessions that they offer, and I think that they will be back just because there is a great need. This is the only culturally responsive cognitive behavioral therapy program in the country. So these creators, this is it for them. No one else does this. No one else is capable of providing training on this programming. And so if you do have the opportunity, and if you'd like for me to bring them back, I don't have an issue with bringing them back, just so that you could see and experience what I believe will be life-changing in our community.
So many of the vendors need to be heat certified.
Correct.
Their employees need to be.
Yeah, and
heat
that's why
certified.
I extended the invitation and made sure that our current community corrections vendors were afforded the opportunity to participate in the training, so that they could have the ability, when that RFP was issued,
Right.
to respond to the RFP.
Because many of them will specifically say,
Yes,
you know, you need to have so many people
Correct.
in there that are heat certified.
yes, yeah.
Okay, all right.
So another thing, Ebony, the youth is right behind that, right? A younger version where you have the adults 18 to 29, the women, the hers, but the adolescents, they're.
Yeah, so we
Yeah.
did provide those facilitators with the contact for juvenile youth services, and I'm not sure if they will, but we did put them in contact with the appropriate individuals in the event that they'd like to come out and provide juvenile youth services training. But that's not our shop.
Okay. Any other comments? Okay, where are we now on the? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I need a motion to approve quarter two and 3 reports. So can I get a motion for that? Who did that? Oh, okay. And support? Okay. So it's been properly moved and supported that we approve the quarterly report, the second and third quarterly report. Are there any questions on that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the motion carries. Next item.
Moving on to item 3, program updates. Was that it? Okay.
Did we do that yet?
We did. I'm sorry. We're on to item letter F. Such other matters as may be properly submitted before the committee.
Okay. I've not been informed of anything.
Item G, public comments.
Okay. All right. So are the lines opened?
The lines are open. There is no one on Zoom wishing to make a public comment.
No one on what?
Oh, on Zoom.
No one on Zoom.
We do have someone, they just raised their hand. It's President Buffington.
Okay. So, and do you have any emails?
No emails were received.
No emails. All right. President Buffington, would you please speak at this time?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for the opportunity.
We can't hear you.
I'm happy to be
We're
aware.
having difficulty hearing you, President Buffington.
I'm sorry. Are you able to hear me better now?
A little bit.
Okay. I'm thanking you for the opportunity to speak. I just wanted to correct you with the city of Detroit, with the youth. They only hire a few hundred And the Wayne State C2 pipeline program, they hire a few hundred. I think they only take in 700 children out of the city of Detroit currently for youth employment. And I'm glad that you guys are thinking out of the box, as you know I do as a union president. I go out to the community. I informed you all that a lot of services that you all are offering, these people aren't aware of from the east to the west. So literature needs to be gotten out a little more in regards to programs that you all have been speaking on in this area. And you know, I negotiate to give second chances for my employees. That's a low ratio of employment because of your groundkeepers and etc. Their records, you all cannot get anyone employed. And I can speak clearly to that as a union president. Thank you so much for your time and giving me this opportunity to speak. Thank you.
Thank you, President Buffington. You know, she brings a very good point. She makes a very good point in terms of getting information out into the communities. One way that we might be able to, the commission might be able to help is that we all do newsletters. And if there's information that you need to get out, you could get those, get that information, flyers or articles to our PR person, Jim Toth, Toth, in our public information. Oh, here he's right now. This gentleman right here, Wayne. You can get it to Wayne, and then because they write our newsletters. And it's simple to drop it into our newsletters, and because we're mailing out to all the people in our district newsletters. And if that information is in there, then it gets out. That's a quicker way to get it out than trying to go to all the community meetings, because that's very difficult to get to all those meetings. But we'll be glad to include information on programming. We'd love to do that. And if you get it to Wayne over here in our PR office, and then as he's writing our newsletters, he'll just drop it right into our newsletters. And we cover, we don't just cover Detroit, we cover all of Wayne County. Because we got 15 commissioners and that covering the entire county. Yes, Paul.
I suggest that if you want to get information out to young people, you hire a young person as your social media coordinator.
Yeah, be on
Pay
Facebook
them
and
some
Instagram.
money to put it out. And some of these young people, they're amazing. I can barely operate my phone, but you want information
Social
out.
media, social media.
Forget the people our age. I just don't mean to offend anybody here, but do it through a young person. Thank you.
But my point is that if it goes to grandmother or mother, then they can, and they're looking for someone to help them with their kids, then we're providing information, not necessarily to the child, but to the parents, that this is where you can go to get help on this kind of a program, a problem. But I agree with you on social media, that if you want to get something out and you want to get, but then will the children themselves accept it? You know, because they don't really think they got a problem. But you're right. Social media, Instagram and Facebook, they'll have it. But in terms, will they utilize it? Yes.
I just want to let everybody know that this week is pre-trial parole and probation week.
Oh.
Thank you. They didn't let me touch you. I'm sorry. Thank you. It's parole, probation, and pre-trial week.
Oh.
So hug or shake a hand of a parole probation officer or someone in pre-trial services. Congratulate them and commend them for the work that they're doing in the community. If you would, we'd appreciate it.
All right.
That's it.
Okay.
Thank you. We're having a picnic on Friday, celebrating for staff, Riverside Park, City of Detroit.
At where?
At Riverside Park.
Oh, okay.
on Friday. So.
That's it. Okay. Anybody else? Anybody else? Okay. Well, let's see. We're done with public comments. We didn't have anyone else. Was there anyone else on Zoom that wanted to say something? We don't have any. So public comment has ended. And the next item is